Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you are acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction, or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application, and it's other than a renewal, and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anyone who would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First applications tonight are application 25110, A through I.
A through I, wow.
Name and address for the record.
That sounds like a lot. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Nicole Blanda. I'm an attorney at Bazell, Blanda, and Visconti with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
Okay. For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated July 15th, 2025, and Department of Environmental Control memo dated July 23rd, 2025. We have surveys, an overall survey and individual surveys for each case by Barrett, Banucci, and Van Weel, dated 3/26/25, tax map acting as an area map, 3 photographs, site plan by Harold Gephardt, dated 2/6/24. No end. You're moving the cheese on me. Go ahead. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add to the record colored renderings of the homes. I have 9 just to show the differences between the houses.
Sure, thank you.
I'm here tonight on behalf of MR Property Builders, LLC. They are the contract vendee for the property. They have been in contract for approximately 8 years on this property, and they are seeking variances tonight in connection with a proposed 9-lot subdivision to construct 9 new single-family homes. I have personally been involved with this file and this site for about 8 years now. This site has had various developmental applications filed for it, and there's been obviously multiple revisions over the last 8 years, and that has gotten us to this point. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of the history so that the board can kind of understand where we came from, how we got here, and then I'll get into the application. And then I was thinking I'll take it lot by lot, and if anyone wants to stop me to ask a specific question about the lot at that time, or if you want me to go through the 9 and then go back, you let me know, because I know it is a lot of information. As we go, okay. So back in 2018, the applicant had filed and had sought a recommendation from the planning board for a change of zone. At that time, this was an apartment project. The planning board at the time had given the recommendation, but it didn't go forward to the town board, or by the time it got to the town board, we understood that there were enough community concerns about a multi-res job here that we changed the project and made modifications. At the time, the consensus was people wanted ownership. So that project was changed, scaled back a little bit, and in 2019, a condominium project was filed. At the time, that was a 30-condo, 2-bedroom unit application. Again, it went to planning board. It did receive the recommendation, but again, because of community concerns and the density, the town board did not want to hear the application, and we were asked to go back and revisit the application, kind of take a look at doing single-family homes here instead. Then COVID happened, so basically nothing was going on for a little while. In 2021, the applicant submitted a preliminary layout to the planning commissioner and planning department staff for this 9-lot subdivision for the single-family homes that you see. And at the time, the planning commissioner had told us that she and her staff were going to meet with the North Amityville Implementation Committee to show them the plan and to see whether or not this would be a viable option to move forward. So after that, we withdrew our condo application, and we did submit this subdivision application, and that's why we're here tonight. We had our planning board hearing back in January of this year, and from that hearing came a few adjustments to the plan. So originally, there were 2 parcels that were going to have driveways on 45th Street. Those have been changed. So now there are no driveways coming out on 45th Street. The driveways will be on Clay Court. So that was one of the revisions that we were asked to make. We were also asked to add stop signs internally to the ring road, so that anyone coming out of the development would have a stop sign, and also to add speed humps along 45th Street for safety and in response to community concerns that were raised at the hearing regarding existing traffic and some people speeding down 45th Street. I do have the speed, they call them speed humps, not speed bumps, and they're supposedly safer for emergency vehicles and snowplows and things of that nature to be able to get over the road. And I'm going to submit the proposal to the board so that you have it. And there's also, this came from the town, we were told, you know, who to go to and how to get the proposal. And it also kind of explains the advantages of this sort of, you know, this speed deterrent. So the overall premises is comprised of 171 and 173 45th Street, as well as part of Prospect Street, which we had to seek a road abandonment of, and a portion of land that is sort of, it's within Prospect Street, but it's actually owned by the town of Babylon. So I'm told by the town attorney's office that on June 4th, the town board did grant the road abandonment, and that we are in contract with the town, obviously contingent on zoning approvals, to purchase the town-owned portion. The town-owned portion is about 5,000 square feet. It's this strange triangular portion that is actually within what we call Prospect Street, but it was never developed. And so over the years, I think maybe Prospect Street was supposed to be opened back when 45th Street was widened, and it just never got done. So the town actually still held title to it. The premises is currently vacant and wooded. It does have a history of a dumping problem. My client does send a cleaning crew to the site every couple of weeks to try to keep up with the debris and the litter that is found on the site. The overall lot area, if we do include the town-owned portion and the road abandonment portion, is 1.76 acres. So that's the area that we are looking to work with. It is somewhat irregularly shaped. It does have about 324.68 feet of frontage on 45th Street, and then the depths vary west and east. So we're dealing with a property that, as you can see, is wider than it is deep. So when you try to create a subdivision layout, it's not your typical lot where you can do a cul-de-sac. So, you know, you have your road kind of running up the middle with you know, the cul-de-sac at the end, and then you can kind of place your pie-shaped, you know, your lots around that cul-de-sac. This is a different type of property to work with because of the angle and because of the width versus the depth. So what we did here is we created sort of a circular driveway, if you will, or like a rainbow-shaped road, and the road would be clay court and would be dedicated to the town. The property is sewered. There's all utilities available to the site. Obviously, the applicant would have to construct the road and do all the infrastructure and bring the utilities in, et cetera. Before I get into the variances, I just want to point out the surrounding area. Our easterly property line, we do abut, it used to be New Horizons apartment. Now I believe they're calling themselves Zen Long Island, but it is an apartment complex. I believe it's a mix of non-age restricted and age restricted apartments. So that's one of our property lines when you look at the aerial. Northerly, we abut the Suffolk County Water Authority. That's about 10.7 acres. There's a water tank there. There's some support buildings for the Water Authority. And then also we abut the Cemetery of the Sisters of St. Dominic. So there's a lot of wooded land to the north of us. There's no residential homes that abut us to the north. And then to the west, there are 3 Residence B properties, and then again, the Suffolk County Water Authority property. And then to the south is a development of houses that are Residence B zoned that are comprised of a mixture of different sized lots varying from 50-footers to 75-footers to 100-footers. It's a mixed area as you go through the numbered streets. So the premises, as I said, is zoned Residence B. We are seeking to subdivide this property into 9 lots and install the road, which would be dedicated to the town. Each new home would be single-family, owner-occupied, no accessory apartments. This would add much-needed housing to the supply that is out there. What we do here, I do real estate as well as the zoning, and what we do here is that because of the demand and the lack of supply in homes, it drives the prices up. And so for a homeowner, they're fighting, they're competing, they're waiting online to get into open houses, and so it drives, it turns into a bidding war. So if we have more inventory, you would think that that would bring prices down because people have to compete with one another. These would be different sizes homes, different style homes, so they're not all going to be cookie cutter. Again, none of the proposed homes will have driveways on 45th Street. They will all access the ring road of Clay Court. 8 out of the 9 homes will also have an internal garage. Each home will have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, and for the most part, an open floor plan. And I'll take you through the floor plan for each one. The cellars are all unfinished, and the applicant consents to the covenant that was requested, requiring them to remain unfinished. So, Lot 1. Lot 1 has 2 street frontages, and the home itself will face 45th Street, but its driveway and garage will face Clay Court. So we're seeking to diminish the street width on 45th Street from 80 feet to 51.44 feet, diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 6,586 square feet, diminish the front yard setback on 45th Street from 30 feet to 24 feet, and diminish the front yard setback on Clay Court from 30 feet to 20.3 feet. In addition, we would be diminishing the rear yard setback from 40 feet to 20 feet. So when we look at that parcel, again, it's going to be, as it faces 45th Street, it is going to be deeper than it is wide, but the driveway will come in on Clay Court. And because it has 2 street frontages, it makes it a little difficult to comply with the front yard setbacks over there. For that home, there's an open floor plan. You come into the house and you enter the living area, which leads into the dining and kitchen area. There is a staircase on the left side in the center of the home, and on the other side of the staircase is the rear of the house, which has a dinette area, a bathroom, and a door that leads to the garage. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. So that is Lot 1. Lot 2 is right above it, and this one, Lot 2, is going to look very similar to Lot 5, and I'll explain why. It's basically tucked into the corner of the overall property. So what we're doing here is the street width is going to be narrow, and that's the driveway coming in. But the property does widen as someone pulls into the property itself. And so it is a little different than something maybe the board is used to seeing, but by no means is this a 25 by 100 foot lot. You know, this is not something where we're asking for a 40 footer or a 30 footer. This really is just to have the driveway come in, and then we can have the rest of the parcel. So the driveway, again, is on Clay Court. We're seeking a street frontage of technically 25.13 feet here, where 80 feet would be required. We're seeking to diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 6,876 square feet, and diminish the rear yard from 40 to 20 feet. We meet all the other setback requirements, and it's notable that the rear yard abuts the Suffolk County Water Authority. So that's the neighbor that would be affected by that rear yard. The home has an internal garage and an open floor plan with a half bath on the first floor and 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths on the second floor. So the footprint itself is about 1,075 square feet, with 845 square feet of living space on the first floor, with the garage being 229 square feet of that. So it's a nice style home, and again, the driveway extends out to the street, and that's the need for the diminished street frontage so that we can fit that lot. If we move to Lot 3, again, this home will face Clay Court. We're seeking to diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 6,831 square feet, so similar to the other 2 parcels. Diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 23 feet on Clay, and diminish the rear yard from 40 feet to 20 feet. So because of the short depth of the lots, it makes for a shorter front yard and a shorter rear yard. The dwelling is by no means deep. It's only 25 feet deep. So if we tried to make the house more narrow, you're really losing out on the living space. So that is the reason. These aren't very large homes. When you look at the house plans, you can see that we're trying our best to fit a parcel the best that we can, but that is the reason for the front yard setback being requested to be reduced and the rear yard. This home will also have an internal garage, open floor plan, 4 bedrooms, and 2.5 baths. Lot 4 also faces Clay Court. We're seeking to diminish the street width from 80 feet to 78.74 feet, diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 6,734 square feet, similarly diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 23.1, and diminish the rear yard from 40 to 20. Again, the rear yards abut the Suffolk County Water Authority and the Sisters of St. Dominic. The home will have an internal garage, open floor plan, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Is everyone okay so far? Move to Lot 5, or is any questions? Okay. Lot 5 is similar in style, and the driveway is similar to Lot 2. So Lot 5 is also tucked in the other corner of the overall property. We're seeking to diminish the street width at the front from 80 feet to 25.13, just like Lot 2. Diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 8,108 square feet. And diminish the rear yard from 40 feet to 22.9 feet. We meet the other setbacks. For this one, as you enter the home, the garage is to your right. You walk into the living area, and the stairs are central to the left. There's a half bath on the first floor, and in the rear is the open kitchen to den combination with a sliding door that will lead out to the yard. The second floor has 4 bedrooms and 2 full baths, just like the other homes. And the first floor living space is about 765 square feet, with the garage coming in at 220.91 square feet. And then the second floor has about 986 square feet of living space. Lot 6 faces Clay Court. It's on a curve, and the lot widens as you head east. So the easterly property line is actually 96 feet. But our front street line is 53.83 feet. So we are seeking a variance to go from 80 to 53.83 at the front street line, diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 7,056 square feet, diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 26.6, diminish the rear yard from 40 feet to 25.5 feet. This home will also have an internal garage. This house is a little different in design. The staircase is located in the middle of the home. So when you walk in, there's a hall. To the right is the family room and then the garage. To the left is the living room that leads into the dining room and open kitchen. And then there's a half bath that is off of the kitchen. On the second floor is the primary bedroom with an ensuite bathroom and walk-in closet. And there are 3 other bedrooms and a second full bathroom. The first floor living space is about 936 square feet, with the garage at about 252, and then the second floor living space is at 928.77 square feet. Lot 7 is the last lot that goes towards 45th Street, but that property line actually hits the neighbor that has a triangular portion that extends. So we don't have 2 street frontages. We just front on Clay Court. We are seeking to diminish the width at front street line from 80 feet to 76.07 feet on Clay Court, diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 6,365 square feet, diminish the front yard setback on Clay from 30 feet to 25 feet, and diminish the rear yard setback from 40 feet to 20.9 feet. The garage would be on the left. As you walk in, the living room is on the right. Down the hall is the kitchen and dining room, along with the half bath. And then on the second floor are 4 bedrooms, one of which is the primary, having its own full bathroom and walk-in closet. And then there is a second full bathroom for the other 3 bedrooms that are on the second floor. The first floor living space is about 800 square feet. Garage is about 247.5 square feet. And then the second floor full living space is about 1,012 square feet. Lot 8 So in the middle of the overall site, you could see what almost looks like an island of land. So because we created a ring road or a rainbow shape, if you will, we have land that then is left over that fronts on 45th Street and then has frontages on what we're going to call Clay Court North, Clay Court East, Clay Court West, just to kind of be a little more specific about the front yard setbacks. So on Lot 8, the home will face 45th Street, but the driveway leading to the garage will be on Clay Court. And we're going to call that Clay Court North for the purposes of this. This lot will have 3 street frontages. We're seeking to diminish the width at the front street line from 80 feet to 61.41 on 45th Street, diminish the width at front street line from 80 feet to 58.56 feet on Clay Court, I think Clay Court East, diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 27.1 feet on 45th Street, diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 10.5 on Clay Court East. It's a front yard setback technically, but for the purposes of the house, it's a side yard, but I get it, we have to ask for the front yard setback. And we're looking to diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 19.1 on Clay Court North, which is the setback to the window well. The setback to the dwelling is 22.7. We're also seeking to diminish the lot area for this one from 10,000 square feet to 5,278 square feet. And this is the only lot we're asking for a building area variance to accommodate the garage. We're seeking to increase the building area from 20% to 23.3%. We're over by about 178.73 square feet. So the garage is about 200 and some odd square feet. So if we lost the garage, we would comply. But we thought it was preferable to try to give the homeowner of the garage here. Again, the front of the home will face 45th, but the garage will face Clay Court North. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home. You would enter the home, and the living room is to your right. The family room is to your left. There will be a staircase in front of you. Down the hall is the kitchen and dining room, and the garage is on the left side of the kitchen. The second floor has 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, again with the primary bedroom having its own bathroom with a walk-in closet. Finally, we come to Lot 9, which is the counterpart for Lot 8. This home will face 45th Street, but we relocated the driveway to be off of Clay Court North. This home does not have a garage, so we're not seeking a building area variance. We're seeking to diminish the width at street line from 80 feet on Clay Court West to 49.34, diminish the width at front street line from 80 to 73.16 on Clay Court North, diminish the lot area from 10,000 square feet to 5,284 square feet, diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 17.7 on 45th Street, that's to the stoop. The rest of the home is at an 18.1 to 26.2 front yard setback on 45th Street. As you go, you see that it kind of angles. Diminish the front yard setback from 30 feet to 15 on Clay Court North, and diminish the east side yard from 12 to 10.3 for, I believe, the window well, and I think we have a step down to come out of the house. Otherwise, the wall of the house is at 14 feet. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath dwelling. Again, you enter, the living room is on your left, leads into the dining room. The family room is on your right. You can go down the hall, you enter the kitchen. There's a half bath off the kitchen. And then on the second floor, you see, again, the primary bedroom with the full bath, walk-in closet, 3 other bedrooms, and the second full bath. There were a myriad of covenants that we have been asked to review and consent to. They were from both Planning Board and this board, and we consent to all of them. They include, but are not limited to, the homes being single-family, owner-occupied, no accessory apartment, no further subdivision. We do have several letters in support that are signed by residents in the area that I will hand up to the board. And then if the board has questions of me right now, I'm happy to answer them, or however you want to handle it.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Delvecchio.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Presentation.
Thanks, I'm glad I got my voice back.
So I was at the site this week.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely like to see the site developed. As of right now, it's just a wooded area. I just don't see 9 homes fitting there, and then after seeing, if my math is correct, there's like a total of 50 variances for all of them.
There's a lot of variances.
Yeah. If we remove, let's just say, 1 home, I think that would reduce the number of variances substantially, as it would give more room. So the other 7 dwellings that are along Clay Court, not the 2 that are on 45th and Clay. What is the need for, let's just say, 9?
So, the purchase price of the property is $1.1 million. The contract vendee has been in contract and has been basically financing the project, engineering plans, multiple iterations of this for the last 8 years. And then there's the construction costs for the homes themselves, the cost of putting in the road, bringing in the utilities. And so when it all comes in and they look at their numbers, I mean, I'm going to be honest, they're builders. They do want to make a profit, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing to hide about that. So when they look at their numbers and they came from going from maybe an apartment project to a condo project to then doing a single-family home project, they came up with this plan thinking that if they could get 9 homes here, financially it could be viable for them. That was the thought process.
Well, I understand maximizing, your ROI. I still think 8 would be profitable.
So can I ask then, if it were to be 8, are we looking, where are your concerns mostly targeted? Is it what I'm going to call the ring road properties? Are you looking for the 2 that are in front? Is there a particular lot? I'm just curious.
2 and 5 are obviously substantial, but I do understand that they, it's like a cone shaped, I guess you could say, how it's tiny in the front but large in the back. But then also numbers 1 and 7, that would give them, more room as well. If we configured it a little bit differently. And then also, I think it's number 8 with the garage. Now that, with the garage, now they're already over the area lot coverage. Let's just say the family wanted to add a patio. They'd have to come back to this board.
Right, which patio technically, I mean, I need to have a conversation with some people about patios, but patio technically under the code does not count towards building area. It's been a concession of mine for a while now, and I think it's probably time for me to revisit it. But, so I would argue that they could put a patio, but I understand your point.
Yeah,
Patios are flat. Patio is just like having lawn, and it's not in the definition of building area.
Now, does that go for any of the other dwellings, let's just say? If they wanted to hypothetically add decks or patios, would they then be over the area lot coverages?
I mean, that would be something that they would have to consider. I mean, I would say, for example, Lot 5 has 8,108 square feet. They should be able to still put something else onto the house. It would have to be a case-by-case basis with them taking I think the 20% that they're allowed and doing the math and then figuring out, where they're at if they did want to have something else.
Yeah, 'cause I'm all for more homes. I think that would, like you said, that would help the housing crisis. But, 50 variances is a lot of variances, and now that's another road that the town has to maintain in the future, even though it's going to be dedicated to the town. I work for the highway department. It's another road that we have to, fix and plow and et cetera. Would that be something that could be up for discussion possibly,
You mean making the road private?
No. Reducing a home to reduce the number of variances.
We'd rather it not, but if, so, I mean, it would require a huge redesign, obviously, and we went to planning board already. So I do understand what you're asking. It's something that I would have to discuss with the client and the architect to figure out, because so for example, Lot 2 and Lot 5, if the issue is the pinch point with the driveway and having it be the frontage of 25.13, for example, it's not as simple as just moving the line a little bit. Let's say, for example, Lot 5, moving it a little bit south to try to get a wider it becomes a domino effect. So it's not something I can easily address or answer standing here. It's something that we'd have to look at with the architect and the surveyor to see where things could be maneuvered so that, you know, you're still, maybe you are losing a lot, but you're still, and you're not creating other variances as well. Because you'd still be in a variance situation. Like, no matter what, there would be a lot of variances.
I understand that. I'm just trying to see how we can reduce the number of total variances. Even though it is 25 feet, that opens us up to later dates if people want 25-foot setbacks.
But this is very specific.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that this is a very specific development, especially given that it's sort of transitional over here. I mean, you have the Suffolk County Water Authority, you have the Sisters of St. Dominic, right? And then you have the senior, not the senior, but the apartment, New Horizons, or like I said, I think they're calling themselves Zen Long Island, or I don't know, but it's some apartment complex, right? So it is, it's not like your typical number streets like you have for 45th, 44th, 43rd, you know, where you have a mixture of different size lots and everything. It's its own little kind of enclave, its own little development. So, I mean, I don't think that, like, I would suddenly come in on a lot. I'm not going to have another 25-footer. When am I going to have a 25-footer? And the idea that I would have this size property to create these shapes in this area, and I'd come in waiving this as precedent, like, I just don't see that here, because I don't see any other parcels, quite honestly, this size, or that have been able to be put together, you know, with Prospect Street and town-owned land and things like that. So I do think the board would be safe from setting this a precedent, so to speak, because first of all, when you go south to the other streets, they're developed. I mean, they're all fully developed. You, like I said, you have 50-footers. I mean, if you look at the aerial, you have 50-footers, you have 75-footers, you have old subdivisions. I have, you know, a couple of approvals, one from like the 90s, one from the 2000s. You know, these have all been developed already. I just don't see, you know, someone being able to do what we're proposing here, that you would have to worry, like, that someone would say, oh, well, you gave them a 25. And also, like I said, it's not 25 feet all the way through. It's for the driveway. You know, in the past, when you've had flag lots and things of that nature, you know, it's happened.
And you do agree to all the covenants and restrictions?
Absolutely.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board?
With 8 or 9 or whatever we approve new homes here, is there a need for a fire hydrant?
That's a good question. So there's a fire hydrant on where Prospect hits 45th Street.
Uh-huh.
So, like south of us, you can kind of see it on that plan. Yeah, there's a fire hydrant over there. We do have like an open question as to whether or not we would have to put another fire hydrant in here. Our planner is here tonight. I don't know if she recalls, but I don't see one shown on the site plan. I was looking, but that's something we'll look into if we need it or not. But there is a fire hydrant right at the intersection there of Prospect and 45th.
You will look into it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Probably will.
Probably, right? I mean, that's why I was looking and looking on the survey and the site plan, and I don't see one called out. But I have a vague recollection of a conversation, so I'll look into that,
That'd be a long stretch for the fire truck.
right?
As a fireman, I would hate that stretch.
That's what I thought. So I'll look in. I looked along the street. I don't see any others. I think that's the closest one, so I would imagine
They probably want one.
it's something we have to look into. And that's another cost, you know?
That's not that much in the big scheme of things.
It adds up. It adds up.
You gotta put the main in already and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps your insurance down, John's right. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Come on up, whoever would like to maybe heard. Name and address for the record, please.
Rosemary Deering, 145 45th Street, Copeg, 11726.
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Okay. We've been working on this for years. I'm happy to see that there are houses instead of apartments and all. But I'm not happy with 9 houses in that area. It's just overkill for me. 5 houses would fit very well in there without having to cut off this much of the land for each house. And I'm very happy that they decided to put the street not coming out to 45th Street, because that would have been terrible. But I cannot see 9 houses in there, and it would just be not well for 45th Street or Prospect Street or any of that. And I would hope that they would reconsider, because quite frankly, I'm tired of fighting this. And I would like to, and I don't know how much longer I can fight, so I would like to be peacefully happy about seeing 5 nice homes there that people can purchase at and I don't know what kind of house you could put there now that would be affordable. So I'm hoping that we can come to some kind of agreement on this, and I could be at least happy for the most part. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else likes to be heard on this? Sir, come on up. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Manjit Joshan. I live on 45th Street. My house number is 165.
Do you
in
affirm to tell the
Quebec.
truth? Do you affirm to tell the truth? Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, yes, I will. I will.
Go ahead. What would you like to tell us?
My reason for me coming, this is the 3rd time. It started with the 32 units, and then now it's come up with the 9 units. He bought the land as three plots, single family. And now he wants to convert it into 9 units, which is, we also bought the houses. We are not dividing our houses and building another house on our lot. We want to keep it as all the single family houses over there. There's already so much traffic on this 45th Street. See, when these 9 units are going to come, they're going to bring traffic. There are kids there. It's very dangerous, Plus, as if he's a builder, he wants to do something for the community, for the whole community around there. There's no park over there. Why not? I have talked to my other neighbors. They do agree that we agree for the 5 units on the whole lot. And then in the center, where is the number 8 and 9 house, that he can create it into a little park for the kids and for his 5 houses he's going to build over there. Build up the whole neighborhood. We definitely want that area to be cleaned up. Our road has not been fixed for the last 5 years. I've been fighting. I'm coming here, putting up my complaint. And this is another thing. All these things are dumped in there. I don't know who walks through. There are criminals also walking through. So I would say if it is a 5 house, we all agree to it, and we'll be very happy to get this cleaned up and finish all this for all. This is my suggestion, and I hope everybody would agree. I have been living there for the last 25 years. There's Mr. Rosemary, she's been there for maybe about 30 or 40 years. So we don't want to bring our neighborhood down. We want to bring the neighborhood up. Some of the houses in that in our area, they have taken 2 plots and made a big, beautiful houses over there. It's on the 40th Street or 41st Street and Pacific, right there. So my suggestion is, if you can, convince the builder to build 5 units and build something for the community, a little park for the kids to play around and there should be a proper speed breakers so that, you know, the people go from the Albany to the new highway, going about 45, 50 miles an hour. You know, we have complained about it. There's a house across from my house, that's a Section 8. And there are people come from Bronx, I have not personal, they're most welcome, but they should act like, you know, living in the neighborhood, not to come out and start fighting in the air, scaring everybody else. And they drive the Mohawks over there. You know, why did we move from other place to this place? Why did we made so much for the house just to get peace? You know, I hope you're also living in Suffolk and Nassau County. I don't think you would allow to have a multi-unit complex in your neighborhood. You know, that's my request, and I think we should please consider and do something about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? I'll take the young lady in the front. Name and address for the record, please.
Yemi Ojayemi, 463 44th Street, Copiague, New York 11726.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to tell us?
Okay. We are all aware of the situation with housing in New York, and most of our children are having to move out of state because there are not enough houses. So, I mean, from this application, it was about 32 apartments, if I can remember, and now it's been shrunk down to 9 properties. I mean, anything new construction signifies growth, improvement in the society. I'm looking at it from a real estate perspective. We need more accommodation in the area, and I don't see any reason why they should be reduced any further. Some of the houses on 44th Street, they're all pushed inside. They're not on the streets that is becoming an hazard. So I trust the committee to be able to make the right decision, but from my perspective, we need more housing, and we can be helpful to one another by, you know, not having to think, I need a whole lot of space. We have to think about other people. That's what I can say. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sabrina Buchanan, and my address is 90 45th Street.
Okay. And
And
you
I-
affirm to tell the truth?
Of course. I've been a resident of 90 45th Street for the past 5 years. So I'm fairly new. I'm fairly new to your application, and my neighbors, we spoke, and I was informed of this application, these complex, these single-family homes going up. I've been informed from 32 to 9. I'm listening closely. 9 is a bit much. 5 is reasonable. And if I figured from what I'm hearing, I don't understand construction and numbers, but it sounds to me as if the 2 houses that's allegedly going to face 45th Street will cut off some people's property, like land, to it's going to be narrowed. I've been there 5 years, like I said, and I never seen my street paved once. I've seen all my streets paved around me, and now I understand why. Because all of this is going on, and we trying to figure out if we're going to put 32, 9, or maybe even 5. We welcome new homes. We want people to have new homes. I came all the way from Brooklyn to Long Island, and I like my street. I like the residential feel. I like the quietness. I like the way it is. I'm across the street from the water plant that she spoke of. It sits right across the street from my house. My husband cleans out there. When he cleans our yard and mow the lawn and keep the curbside beautiful, he cleans across the street also. So there is some dumping going on a little further down towards Prospect. And we would like to see that cleaned up. I would like to see that cleaned up, but I would like to drive down a smooth street also. I get a little jealous when I turn the corner and my neighbor's street is paved nicely, and I know I've been here for 5 years and I pay taxes just like everybody else. And I would like a nice street. As far as traffic, we do have a little traffic. You know, they do abuse us. 45th Street does get abused as far as traffic is concerned. But as far as the layout, the quietness, it's welcome. And in the 5 homes that you are trying, or 9 homes that you are trying to build, I think 5 will be sufficient. I think it will. I think everyone will be happy with that. I don't think it will affect anyone's property or take away anything, but it will also add to our community. But I like it the way it is right now. But I welcome new homes, affordable ones. I may decide to buy a new one. Who knows? You never know. Only been here 5 years. You never know. I may even look at one. But for now, 9 is a little too much. It is. And we have children in our area. And we take pride in our property. At least I do. But I would like a new street. But I understand why my street was not paved now. Because all of this is going on. Okay, so good luck on your project. I hope you decide to come to an agreement with the community of 5. Because I think 5 will look nice, and it won't take away, but it will just add to the beauty of 45th Street and the surrounding streets. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? Name and address for the record, please.
Gina Walker, 169 45th Street.
And you affirm to tell the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay, what would you like to tell us?
So I have no problem with, I know this is going to happen regardless of not. I'm glad that it's dwindled down. I do agree that less houses would be, you know, beneficial or better for us in our neighborhood. We have, like Ms. Buchanan said, the traffic that goes through there. Our road is not paved. I'd like to point out that we never know what we're getting. Every neighborhood, there's something in every neighborhood. I'm very well aware of that. Currently, right now, I have about 4 teenagers, I'd say teenagers or in their 20s or what have you, that are actually sitting directly across from that wooded area where there's another small wooded area behind the house, and they're smoking marijuana out there. There's garbage out there now where they're dumping because that's just a little hangout for them. They sit in their car, they're smoking marijuana. Again, I don't know what we're going to get. Everyone's pretty much to themselves, try to keep their properties nice and things of that nature. I think I have also more of a question in conjunction with my concern because I work remotely, so with all the construction and everything. I'm sorry, so everything that's going on with the construction, I have a concern with working remotely. Will my water be cut off at some point during the day? Will I lose electric power, the noise, you know, things of that nature? But I know what comes with the territory, but these are just some concerns. Again, less is more. I mean, you know, I don't think that we need all of this, but, you know, like she said, good luck with it, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard? Come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Name and address for the record, please.
Jadine White Santos, 220 45th Street, Copiague, New York.
You affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
Okay, so like everyone is saying, I do agree with all of my neighbors that a 7-9, whatever you plan to do, it's a bit much. And I do have the concern as well for like what most of them saying. Yes, we have the concern for the garbage and all of that, and we would like to see development which would reduce or eliminate the hangout spot, because there's an area there that she was mentioning earlier that they come, they drink, they smoke, clean their car, and they dump it. And I'm the one that's directly across from this development. And so I see it. And my greatest fear is having this community like right in front of the house. And I do understand having the need for housing, because I am a young homeowner and I would want young homeowners to have that experience as well. But I honestly don't think that we need that many right where this area is. I feel like they can find other areas in the neighborhood to develop. So I feel like what she said, less is more. I feel like it would increase the beautification of the neighborhood, and I am in agreement with everyone when they say 5 is a good number. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? Come on up. Name and address for the record, please.
Ronald Walker, 169 45th Street.
Okay. Do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
What would you like to tell us?
I agree with everybody what they were saying here with the 5 units, because I think it fits the neighborhood much better than the 9. And it's a lot of traffic, like everybody said. We need our streets paved, but there's folks on this right here. And like I said, I live right next door. I clean up the neighborhood too. I pick the weeds up, I cut the grass over there, I do the same thing like the young man over here do. And I just say that we should do 5 instead of 9. I mean 5 instead of 9.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be, only one turn. Would anybody else like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Briefly. You want to sum up anything, or?
So my client and I will go and revisit this and take a look, but I mean, I can say definitively 5, the project is done. We can't do 5. I can just say that. So, but we can look at perhaps reconfiguring and maybe losing one house. But there's a tipping point where the whole thing just doesn't make sense anymore for them to do as a project.
Okay,
So
you will go back and take a look.
we'll
and
go back and
see.
definitely, we'll go back
You
with the
heard
architect, we'll
everybody's
take a look.
comments, so you know
We've
where
heard the
we're at.
concerns. Again, the speed humps would be put in, the stop signs for traffic, things like that. But we'll work with, I'll work with the client, the planning department. We'll talk to the architect and the surveyor and see what we can come up with.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming down, everybody. We'll take it all into consideration. Appreciate your participation. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. I guess we will keep the record open for possible new plans. Making the next application. Are you doing this one too? Oh, okay. I'm trying.
She is.
I'm looking and I'm thinking you were, and I'm like, okay, now what? All right, the next applications are 25-111 A, B, C, and D. Property is also located in Wyandanch. This property is located in Wyandanch. I'm sorry.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Nicole Blanda, an attorney at Bazell, Blanda, Visconti, with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
Okay, for the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated July 10th, 2025. Department of Environmental Control memo dated July 23rd, 2025. Overall survey by Michael K. Wicks dated 6/24/24. Tax map acting as an area map. We have 4 photographs, floor plans and elevations by Harold Gephardt dated April 22nd, 2025. Individual surveys by Michael K. Wicks dated June 24th, 2024.
I gotta get used to these glasses. Every time I look up, I'm on another planet.
Are you just getting used to those?
I am. I was
Or
in
trying?
denial for so long that I needed them, and then I realized I wasn't reading books anymore. So here we are.
Okay.
We're ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay. I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owner, Albany Avenue Suites LLC, in connection with subdividing 5 tax lots into 4 lots and constructing 4 new single-family homes here. I was just at Planning Board Monday night. It went well. We had no neighbors, same as tonight. The property's on the west side of Birch Street, 100 feet south of Jefferson Avenue in Wyandanch. The overall property is comprised of 5 separate tax lots that range in size from 40-footers to an 80-footer. So we're trying to put them all together and reconfigure. They are zoned Residence C. There are sewers and utilities available here. It's currently vacant and somewhat wooded. And again, we've reviewed extensively. This went to the planning department and all the departments first, so this is a little different than what you normally see. So we've had our comments, and we're pretty good to go in terms of departmentally, and so we're here tonight seeking the minimal variance relief that we're requesting. So we're seeking to reconfigure into 4 lots. Lot 1 would be a 60 by 100 at 6,000 square feet. So we're just seeking 2 variances to reduce the frontage from 75 to 60 and 7,500 square foot lot area to 6,000 square feet. Lot 2 would be a 70 by 100 foot parcel with 7,000 square feet. So for that, we'd be seeking 2 variances to go from the street frontage from 75 feet to 70 and 7,500 square feet to 7,000. Lot 3 would match Lot 1, so it's a 60-footer with 6,000 square feet. So same 2 variances, street line from 75 to 60, lot area from 7,500 to 6,000. And then Lot 4 would be a 70 by 100 with 7,000 square feet. So again, 75 feet to 70 and 7,500 to 7,000 square feet. We are not seeking any other variances. We meet all the setbacks, we meet the building area, we meet the height. We're proposing a 2-story dwelling on each lot. The idea was for the lots to vary in size so they would look different, they wouldn't look cookie cutter. On lots 1 and 3, we are proposing a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, single-family home, dining room, kitchen, den, and family room on the first floor with bathrooms, and then all the bedrooms on the second floor. No basements here. Lots 2 and 4, we're proposing a slightly larger home with 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Again, no basements. We consent to all the covenants, single family, owner occupied, no accessory apartment, no further subdivision. Immediately to the west on Chestnut, there are mixed size lots. Lot 35 is a 40-footer. Lot 36 is a 60-footer. On Birch across the street, at 13 Birch, we have a 60-footer developed with a home. It's just a mixed size area, and when you find this much of vacant land and you have a builder willing to come in and invest, I think this is a nice, reasonable subdivision, especially since we're sprinkling in 2 70-footers here with the 2 60s, and we're in a Residence C zone, so the requirements are a little less. The homes would be styled differently so that nothing looks the same, and I think we have minimal comments left in planning. We're going to be labeling our test bores and things like that, but otherwise I think we've pretty much addressed everything. And so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Yeah. And are we waiting on planning, or what are we doing with that?
I think planning wants you to go first, ironically.
You don't want to go first.
I know. So the 2 boards have to fight it out and figure out who's going to go first.
I'm fine, relax. Okay. I'll make a motion to adopt a negative declaration on applications 25111A, B, C, and D. All in favor? I'll make a motion to approve applications 25111A, B, C, and D.
Second.
With all the CNRs and conditions, standard CNRs and conditions. All in favor?
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Good? We're good.
You good?
Good, okay, have a good night.
Okay, that concludes the live streaming portion of our meeting.